anyone who everywhere they can.
What's going on in Europe, would you say? Europe suddenly seems like a different place.
Well, my biggest concern for Europe is that the birth rate is half replacement rate.
Yes.
So Europe is rapidly becoming, with each passing year, older and older, with fewer and fewer young people. So I think at a most fundamental level, unless Europe has a birth rate at least roughly equal to replacement rate, it is in population freefall. Population collapse is what's going on in Europe.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? All praises be to the Most High, as pilgrims in the earth. So check this out, right? Y'all, this Mr. Death by Technology, Extinction himself, is saying Europeans aren't producing children anymore the way they should. So naturally, if we all just continued in harmony and there was no depopulation agenda against blacks, etc., Africa and the diaspora would eventually overpopulate naturally. And not only that, to add water to the oil, many, if not only black people, are waking up, but their own people also. Because you have to understand, if most Europeans knew how evil and sinister this plan was to exterminate blacks and Africans and then come after Africa, in the end, they would fight against it. They would reject it, just naturally. They would stand up against it. So this is no hate towards white people, but this is Mother Nature and God's natural order in full effect. So do you blame these world leaders for what they're planning, considering that their time is up? Do you? Check this out.
There's no alternative for a nation, a people that wants a future. There's no alternative to having children. And the assumption that foreign adults can replace the children raised in English households, it's an absurd assumption. I'm not saying that the economic measure doesn't have some kind of value and truth to it. The problem is, as is often the case with liberalism, it's this little partial truth. The broader truth is that a Britain that is not having children has no future. If you want to have a future, you can't avoid the basic responsibility of human beings to any society that they love, which is to bring children into that society and to raise them with its value and worldview.
Okay, so they understand it's simple mathematics. If you don't have children, which is your legacy you leave behind, then you basically on your way out the door. Which is funny because they funded feminism. They funded all these programs and the ideal of women to prioritize careers over being wives. But now it's backfiring almost immediately, right? Because guess what? What are children? When you come to Africa, right? Any African country you go to, children everywhere. I'm talking about the average household, 4, 5, 6 children, and they don't have the money that most people desire to have, that they think you should have to have a family or children. When you go to these modern countries, what you call with great infrastructures, they think, oh, you have to have this money to have children. You have to have, we don't have the money to, take care of children. But when you go to poor countries, they don't even think like that.
Africa produced 46 million babies in 2024. That is more than Canada's population, more than Poland's population, and about twice the size of Australia every year. Where are they going to live? Who is going to feed them? About 50% of Africans live in poverty. Why then are they producing so many humans? Africa is the world's largest baby production factory. Nigeria alone produces more babies than the entire European Union and the United States combined. I'm not sure you understood. Let me break this down for you. In 2024, the United States produced 3.6 million babies. In the same year, the EU produced 3.5. Their combined population is 791 million people compared to Nigeria's 237 million, 3 times less. Yet Nigeria produces more babies than both of them combined. The GDP of the EU and the United States stands at a whopping $51 trillion against Nigeria's 188 billion, which is less than a single American, Elon Musk, almost 3 times less than Elon Musk. Furthermore, Nigeria has the highest number of poor people in the world, the highest number of homeless people in the world, with 70% of its people living in poverty. Why then are they producing more people when there is nothing in place for the ones alive? When the EU and the US have so much wealth, yet they control their baby production, they are almost 30 times richer than Africa. In fact, Nigeria alone produced more babies than the entire South America combined in 2024. What is going on over there?
Wow. So Nigeria alone produces more babies than America and Canada, in which Africa has 54 countries with a spread out diaspora all over the world. So it's good news, but at the same time, we must understand the danger this brings also. The agendas will get more aggressive. These world leaders are planning to destroy you and your children if you're black. Matter of fact, it don't even matter if you black anymore. I mean, they planning on destroying everybody at this point. But in every which way, rather chemicals in your food, water, air, or medical procedures, and understand eventually they're going to outright come at us full swing because this is survival for them. Check it out.
Nigeria is now a country of almost 220 million people, the largest country in Africa. But they only produce about 10% of the electricity that a small country like Hungary. Hungary only has 10 million people, but they produce 10 times as much electricity as Nigeria does. I mean, I know you want to have your Wakanda, right? But do you expect white people to give it to you? No, you're supposed to build it yourself. Having said all this, it is of course obvious that we Europeans in the north need to prepare for a possible, potential African rise in terms of technology and therefore also in terms of military capacity. And that means we in Europe need to already start looking ahead and thinking ahead about how we are going to win the war against Africa, because there will be a future war between Europe and Africa.
Okay, so you don't think Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana, all these countries in West Africa kicking out the French and the Western world countries that's been robbing them for so long, you know, with the help of crooked politicians, but these are people that they set up. So you don't think them kicking those people out, the French and all these other European countries, and starting to gain more control to their resources, gold and et cetera, you don't think that's going to have a dire consequence, or these people are not going to fight because the loose control of Africa means the starvation and death for them. So they're going to crash out. They're going to fight. So why else do you think we're seeing Trump targeting Nigeria and creating travel bans and all throughout Africa? Because the African people are waking up. They're going to change traveling. You're not going to be able to go back and forth to Africa, to these European or Western world countries. They're going to control and lock it down for these very reasons. So as you see, he admitted there will be a future war against Africa. But I really want to stay on the topic, you know, because of course they all want the resources of Africa. Africa got all the good things that the world needs. But let's stay focused on the topic. Are white people or white Europeans being extinct, or do they low birth rates?
What's going to happen when white people do start to become minorities in their own countries?
If we slip and fall into minority status, things like political correctness aren't going to protect us. Once you're a minority, you have to fight to get your holiday. You have to fight to get all these special privileges that previously were just your right. And you can look at countries where white people have relinquished power in the past. In Rhodesia, it never ends well for the remaining white population.
I just think there's so much racial resentment and hatred towards us already. When we're a minority, do you really think that's going to go away just because we no longer have power? It's going to be a lot worse because we won't be able to defend ourselves.
So you have to understand, a lot of these social talking points or media talking points are already instituted by the government. They're trying to start a racial war in America. You know what I'm saying? They want chaos to pop off. they want your average white person to fight your average black person because they have to have chaos so they can create laws, so they can be more aggressive on the approach against not only just black people, but all people. So you have to have this racial war. Is going to happen. So I'm not saying that there aren't military groups or white national military groups who, who aren't government ran, but at the same time they're gonna activate this big racial war against the black and white thing based on, this is our last stance. If we don't fight for our country, then what else? These illegal immigrants coming in, they're gonna take everything. So you have two wars going on. Not only, in America, that Western World War, a civil war, but then you have global extermination of these people. Because you have to understand, right? They've already created and sold the narrative that white people are superior. And this is your country, this is your land, and this is your world. So in their mind, Donald Trump is ethnically cleansing what's already theirs. So you're going to hear a lot of, we're going to be the minority by 2040 talk. Man, it's way before that. Matter of fact, I don't even believe they numbers that they putting out there. I think they're already the minority. But that's neither here nor there. But when you hear the 2040 talk, they push dates back, right? Like they're telling you 2030 is all these things are going to happen. They're already being rolled out. So don't think you got all this time. They're already preparing to move you up out the way.
Something that has been predicted for decades, a shift in demographics in America, now sparking some fresh conversations about race and what it means politically. An analysis of census data from the Brookings Institute projects the number of white Americans will fall below 50% for the first time ever in about 20 years, 2045. At the same time, more Americans are multiracial and they don't identify exclusively with one box. Julia Manchester, national political reporter for The Hill, joining me right now. Okay, Julia, I read this article published in The Hill. More and more people have a child, a grandchild, another relative married in who is from another ethnic group. 4 in 10 people, according to this Brookings data, identify with a group other than white. So you can't put people in boxes. How exactly will demographics and politics be determined in the future?
Yeah, Adrian.
So you have to understand, America is the big stage of influence. So this is a worldwide conversation. And immigration is not only an American problem, according to them, but you got Africans and Arabs overpopulating many European countries, like the UK, etc., which is causing tension also over there. So best believe we in the midst of the storm, man. A lot of people look at this as it's going to happen in the future. Oh, 5, 10, 20 years, because they don't want to be a part of it. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news and good news if you're looking for this world to fall. But they're coming at us, man. We in the midst of it right now. And while we are fighting against each other, arguing if we're connected to Africa or not, when this plan of extermination right now, it's not divisive. They know exactly who to wipe out. But meanwhile, we're online bickering back and forth. Oh, we with the FDA. Oh, they not a part of us. We're not African. Best believe they're going to destroy Africans and they're going to destroy the diaspora and they're going to destroy you if you identify as an Indian. I don't care who you are. You're black. Not only will they destroy black people, but they're destroying poor people. So anytime you hear overpopulation or climate change, too much CO2, best believe it's always going to come back to there's too many of us being born worldwide and they're not populating like they supposed to. And they knew this would happen. So just like in Egypt, when the Hebrews started to increase in number, what did they do? They oppressed them even more. So the oppression has been happening. That's what happens when your taxes is being raised. But what keep happening? We're still increasing in number. So what did they have to ultimately do? They wanted to destroy them, get them up out of the land. In case there fall out any war, they shall join with our enemies. It's the same thing. What they was doing, hiring midwives to destroy or unalive the boy child. Same thing with the shots. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I've discussed this so many times in many videos, but I'm not gonna go there as far as them scriptures. But I do want to get a couple scriptures right quick. Hold on. So this is Jeremiah 16, chapter 16, and verse 19. It says, "O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities, in things wherein there is no profit." So the whole construct that was set up by your European powers is built off lies. It's built off white supremacy. You know, your average white person is starting to realize, you know, not only just white people, but white people in general are starting to realize, like, hey, we've been lied to. You know, even the system that we used to benefit off of, we're not benefiting off of anymore. It's not fun for us anymore. You know, our forefathers inherited lies. The good times is over. You know, everybody got their chance to rule, you know. But the everlasting kingdom will go to who? Let's go find out. This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1. "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." Verse 2, "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." So every kingdom had their time. You know what I'm saying? They had their time to step on and spit on the righteous people. You know, you thought we was the base of the earth. You thought we was the dirt. You know, you ran through all the poor African countries and dealt with the women. You didn't have fun. But now it's time to return that power back. And guess what? When the righteous rule, the world gonna rejoice anyway. And not only that, the world is going to get purged of pure evil anyway. If you black and evil, you're going to get purged out anyway. So this right here is going to be a flipping. The Most High is going to flip the world upside down. The righteous who at the bottom and the wicked who at the top, the wicked got to be right back at the bottom, and the righteous will be on the top, and they will serve the righteous. And just so coincidentally, those people, those Israelites, those Hebrews are the diaspora and and a lot of people of these African continents. The majority descend of the seed of this world. But yeah, man, I'm gonna cut it off right there. But if you if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Pilgrims in the Earth. We out.
Europe need to already start looking ahead and thinking ahead about how we are going to win the war against Africa, because there will be a future war between Europe and Africa. We stand
together. Lead 1, on target, arming. Weapons 3. Box 3, away!
It's time, my son! We ride! Let the earth tremble! Together!
Look at her smile. She can't wait to see the fountain.
Neither can I. The water catches the light like it's made of stars.
Mama, it's warm. Feel it.
I will, little one. Go on, play.
Every day here feels like a gift.